Bigfoot Museum. Hi. Yeah, well, an individual Bigfoot, the stereotype would be about 7 to 8 feet tall, and it would be a young male. Yes, sir. Thanks for your call. Bye. Well, the nunchuck was an item that was left behind by a Bigfoot, we believe. A man was in his hot tub and something came up underneath it in the middle of the night at 2 in the morning. Banged up against the hot tub, and the next day he went underneath to take a look, and he found the nunchucks laid out there nice and neatly. Apparently, it had left it there. He showed the nunchucks around the neighborhood to see if anybody could identify them, and the neighbor lady told him that her son had played with them, but lost them in the woods 10 or 12 years ago. So we would take these little weekend vacations and go up to Humboldt and look for driftwood and catch trout and cook them on the camp stove. And that happened one morning. I wandered off and I had a Bigfoot event separate from my parents. And they kind of, well, they shrugged it off as a tramp, a vagrant or something like that I had seen that was partially unclothed and covered in hair from living out in the woods and, you know, that kind of thing. But that happened in 1950. And they told me, in essence, you know, forget about it. It was nothing. Don't even think about it. You know, they're afraid I might be afraid or something. And I was absolutely not afraid because it was totally non-threatening. It was awe-inspiring. Over here we have a tooth that was found locally that we have compared to a human tooth. And we have here some scat. This scat right here is very dry now. It's about 7 years old at this point. It's completely dried out. And when it was fully hydrated, of course, it was about twice that big. And it shows an omnivorous diet. There's insect parts in there, hair, and pine needles, among other things in this scat sample.
And why do you think one hasn't shown up, you know, just kind of walked out and stayed out and not kind of fled back to the...
You mean like Ishi?
Yeah,
the
exactly.
last of the Yahi Indians who
Exactly.
sort of gave himself up
Exactly.
when he got too old to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because I think there's a community of these things and there's not just one. That's the first misconception, that there's one Bigfoot that's been circling the planet for thousands of years, leaving tracks in out-of-the-way places. Mm-hmm. That would have to smack a little too much of Santa Claus, although there's probably a connection there. But nonetheless, it's a species, or possibly even a couple of different species of unofficial primates that haven't been anointed by the scientific community yet, apparently.
Daddy, look at this movie of Bigfoot.
We might want to stop.
Yeah.
Hey, those are a lot of
Hi there.
little Bigfoot statues.
Yep.
Come here, Daddy, see?
Yeah.
If anybody has any questions about anything in here, I'll be happy to answer them.
That's a scary Bigfoot one. Not books. I thought this was a monkey. But he's not. He's a Bigfoot.
You talking about King Kong, young fella?
I didn't
King
know.
Kong was a great big gorilla, but King Kong is he's like a mythological guy too, and some people think Bigfoot's a mythological guy. So there's kind of a connection there. They're both misunderstood by a lot of people, King Kong and Bigfoot, and they're both like big gorillas, sort of. So that's why we have the King Kong in there too.
King Kong, people think King Kong's a Bigfoot in my, cause I have the movie King Kong.
Any sightings lately?
We have brand new reports, very definitely. We have Boulder Creek, we have one in Aptos, we have one in Quail Hollow. They keep on the move because they don't want to be discovered.
Well, I don't mind running into one as long as he's friendly.
Yeah, well, apparently they're pretty friendly to people. So the large pins are sightings, and smaller pinnings represent where people have heard vocalizations that they think could have only come from a Bigfoot. And on this wall behind you is our local map of sightings. People started coming in the door and telling me, hey, I saw one right here in Ben Lomond. I saw one right here in Aptos, and so forth. And when I was convinced that they weren't just pulling my leg, I gave them a pin and suggested they spot the location on the map of where they had their event. Sometimes I feel like I'm the Bigfoot shrink. And I don't mean that I have Bigfoot clients. I mean, I have human clients that come in and tell me, thank you for building this museum. Thank you for giving me a platform where I can come and share my experience without ridicule. And thank you for letting me realize that I'm not crazy, even though everybody wants to tell me I am, and that I'm not a bloody fool for thinking I saw a Bigfoot in the Santa Cruz Mountains, because here's all these other people who think they saw it too. So, like I said, the one that's standing here is about 9.5 feet tall. And the guy over here that's sitting down, if he were to stand up, he's actually taller. Because I gave him some extra long legs.
And how does it feel now that you've got this place that you set up and that you're surrounded by these objects that you've collected your whole life, and that you get to do this every day? I mean, what's...
It was many a day when I, evening comes and I go around shutting things down, turning it off, and I just look around and go, thank God, I'm being able to express myself, I'm being able to make my statements, and I'm getting positive feedback for it. Just the right size to get your picture taken, because when it's sitting down, it's the same height as a person, most people standing up. So they're pretty big.